So, about 9 months ago, I made a video about the possibility of TikTok getting banned due to not just the campaigning efforts of our government under the false guise of it being worried for users' data, but also because US-based media companies like Microsoft, Meta, and Google want to take out the competition. I mentioned how I didn't think it would go through mainly because the Senate didn't want to fast track the bill. I was hoping that it would keep getting pushed back until that Congress was over and the bills they didn't get to would just die on the floor, including this one, which would mean that it would have to be resubmitted and revoted on. In simpler terms, I was hoping that it could buy us time. None of that happened. The Senate passed the bill, and President Biden, in a move that I think tanked his already low approval with young voters beyond repair, signed it into law. Meaning TikTok's company, ByteDance, would have to sell to a US-based company to continue to work here. Since this law, TikTok and some well-known creators on the app filed lawsuits to get the ban either paused or just to completely stop it, arguing that not only is it a First Amendment violation, but that millions of Americans who rely on the app are going to be at a loss. Be them business owners who use TikTok Shop, artists who share music and artwork there, influencers who have cultivated an audience, this ban would hurt average everyday people beyond repair. And considering two of the largest shopping apps in the US are also China-based and are known for stealing credit card data, why is it only TikTok that's being labeled as a national security risk? However, the presiding judges in both these cases were not swayed, as the government's argument of it being a threat to national security was just too strong. So, as in many cases do, this worked its way up to being heard by the Supreme Court of the United States. And in a true case of finding out after the US government f***ed around, TikTok, staying strong on the stance that it won't be sold to a US company, said, "Screw you guys, I'm going home."
Well, screw you guys, I'm going home.
And that they would just not operate in the US at all if the ban hit on January 19th like it's supposed to. So I wrote this script on January 10th, the day of the first half of the hearings. However, due to production, this video is probably going to come out on the second day of hearings, which is January 13th, as they're trying to fast track this whole thing. Now, while nobody knows how this will go, genuinely nobody knows other than the judges sitting up there right now, my personal takeaway, my personal opinion, y'all, the app is getting banned. I'm like 98% sure the app is getting banned. Okay, I was wrong. I had optimism and forgot where I lived. And unlike other Supreme Court cases, this has nothing to do with party line votes. Oh no, this is purely Gen Xers and Boomers not understanding technology. Point blank, period. And they will always give the US government a one-up on an argument against a foreign anything. Like, why should I believe you? You're our enemy, right? In a PBS article on the hearings, which, by the way, these hearings are live and you can listen to them, including the previous round of oral arguments, which is linked on the PBS article, which I will also be linking in my works site and on my website. They note, early in arguments that lasted more than 2.5 hours, Chief Justice John Roberts identified as the main concern in the case TikTok's ownership by China-based ByteDance and the parent company's requirement to cooperate with the Chinese government's intelligence operations. Like, we don't do that here. But anyway. To continue, Justice Brett Kavanaugh focused on U.S. concerns about China accessing information on tens of millions of Americans, including especially teenagers and people in their 20s, with whom TikTok is extremely popular. That seems like a huge concern for the future of the country, said Kavanaugh, whose daughters are in that age range. He could also still be mad at the fact that we made fun of him boo-hooing for getting caught sexually assaulting a girl during his SCOTUS hearing. Because I remember everybody making a meme out of that face on TikTok. That was a time, baby. That was a time. Also, remember when YouTube, i.e. Google, was bragging about collecting data from kids, and that led to not only COPPA being majorly enforced on the website and caused a mini bit of an adpocalypse because they were flagging like hundreds of adult animations as being only for kids. So those animators were not getting paid money for those videos that had like tens of thousands of views, but also led to them paying the biggest fine in FTC history. I do. It wasn't that damn long ago. The article also notes how Justice Roberts completely just rejected the First Amendment argument proposed by TikTok and the content creators' lawyers, Noel Francisco and Jeffrey Fisher, respectively, saying that it wasn't the expression of free speech that was being violated. As to quote Patrick Starr, they can just pick up and go somewhere else to express themselves. Like, let's say, off the top of my head, Facebook? Instagram? Have you tried Twitter? But honestly, this whole thing is concerning, especially since recently the US government listed China game publisher Tencent as a Chinese military company. Which is... what? This new wave of Red Scare fear-mongering aimed at Chinese-based media entertainment is all being done under the guise of safety when it absolutely is not about that. Now, I'm going to be a little bit candid for a moment. I'm going to say it like it is. To be quite honest, I think politicians didn't really take the ban seriously when the idea was first brought up. Because if you remember, this was first kind of in the air during the Trump administration. Even with the lobbying from the tech companies kind of enforcing that vibe, I don't think they really cared. Like I said in my first video, when you put the word ban in front of something, Americans will automatically reject it. This is the land of the free. What are you doing banning something? But it wasn't until the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and subsequent genocide of the Palestinian people happened. We got to see a lot of horrific and heartbreaking video footage from over there to see the true suffering that the civilians were going through down in the Gaza Strip. This happened to give people an idea of what was actually going on and helped gain support for a complete ceasefire from many younger people, and in particular college students. We saw many protests spring up, a lot of which were formed through communication and grassroots efforts on the app, along with donation efforts for individual families that sprung up thanks to TikTok and them being able to share their situations. And included in all of those protests and cries and videos was people, American people, demanding that the government stop funding Israel with weapons and to instead call on an immediate ceasefire to just make things stop. Eventually, news outlets caught wind of the pro-Palestine support on the app and deemed it as an anti-Semitic haven for hate speech. As noted in this Vox article, when accusations that TikTok was intentionally pushing Palestinian content, a group of mostly Republican Congress members who have long called for the U.S. to ban TikTok have used the war to re-air their grudges against the app. TikTok is a tool China uses to spread propaganda to Americans. Now it's being used to downplay Hamas's terrorism, wrote Senator Marco Rubio on X. The irony, posting about propaganda on X, which is currently blaming the horrific LA wildfires ravaging the southern half of the state on DEI initiatives. Anything but global warming. So let's blame the black gay. I don't know. I'm tired of this shit, man. Lest we forget that many Palestinian creators who shared their experience on the app, many who are no longer here with us, were only able to get aid or the word out about the humanitarian crisis the civilians were facing because of TikTok. Hell, to be honest right now, it's how I'm able to get news about the LA wildfires and hear stories of those affected, as well as certain GoFundMes and nonprofits that are out there to help people. In fact, I've been watching a few Californian TikTokers talk about what you need to get if your home is burning down because they lost their homes in the wildfire and didn't think to grab some very important documents, family heirlooms, and whatnot when fleeing. But to go back to the original point, I honestly think it was this conflict and subsequent genocide that sped through the vote and signing of the TikTok ban. Especially during the early ages of this whole thing, when anybody who voiced any concern for Palestine was either fired, harassed, doxxed, and more. So I can believe that if the government wants to stop this sentiment, they will go to what they think is the source. Now, as I mentioned before, Biden did sign this stupid nonsense into law, but he's not how we got here. Trump, who will be starting his second term on the 20th, is the reason why we're here. He was the first one to call out the app, and many speculated it was because he viewed it as a rival to his Truth Social. And of course, he was also calling it out because he's a xenophobe when it comes to anything based in China. And Americans' fear of data harvesting is something that you can use to kind of gain momentum on that as well if nobody's really buying the China is our adversary nonsense. Yet, he's recently changed his tune because unlike Biden, he realizes that this can make him look good. And while he thinks he might be able to do something, I don't think he will. Now, what Trump is proposing SCOTUS do is kind of put this thing on a stay. So like a pause so it doesn't go into effect. Because like I mentioned earlier, this thing is being fast-tracked at like an incredible speed for a SCOTUS case, all right? Like this is like going at like hyper drive, okay? like ludicrous speed in Spaceball.
They've gone to plaid.
But I honestly don't think that even if he did get the stay, if he would be able to do anything about it once he got into office. As a few lawyers I saw on TikTok mention, this is law now. Unless he slams down an executive order that SCOTUS won't strike down the moment that he does it, this divestment, not a ban but is a ban bill, will hold. And like many lawyers, I too think that the app will be banned given by the way that the justices acted during that hearing. You may want to hear it for yourself to get your own idea and kind of like feel them out. But considering this case and knowing that every moment counts when it comes to the arguments, this was a bad moment. It ain't looking good. And to be honest, it's no fault of the lawyers. It's just none of these people know how technology works. None of these people know how social media works.
So I just watched the TikTok briefing like a lot of us did. And the thing that is ringing in my ears after 3 hours of watching this is the staggering technological illiteracy displayed by the Supreme Court and their very loose understanding of why they were there or what they were banning and why. Listening to Justice Alito compare this app and its algorithm to a t-shirt he's no longer allowed to wear, the solution to that problem being to go get a new t-shirt, really illustrates how ill-equipped this man is to make a decision about something so fucking complex. He doesn't understand what this is or how it functions fundamentally.
So the big question a lot of us who use TikTok seriously are asking is, where do we go? It's been around since the ban was signed, but it picked up major momentum again due to the hearings. Honestly, I'm posting this on a Google platform. So I don't know. I've seen so many different like non-Google video platforms come and go in my day that I don't know, man. I don't know. I know a lot of people are comparing this to Vine, but it's more nefarious. Vine died because it wasn't profitable. TikTok is dying because of government interference. I don't know, man. The whole social media landscape is monopolized. I mentioned moving my friends' group chat away from Facebook Messenger due to of course, them lobbying for the TikTok ban, but also due to their new anti-LGBTQ plus rules in place, and plus their removal of content moderation. I suggested that we move to WhatsApp, only to be reminded by my friends that in fact WhatsApp was bought by Meta. A lot of people are either moving to here or onto Instagram, another Meta-owned platform. And those who don't want to move to Insta have been suggesting Lemon 8, a sister site to TikTok that is like video Pinterest. But if ByteDance pulls TikTok operations from the US, then that most likely means Lemon 8 is gone too. But while we can try to search for that vibe, we will never really truly get TikTok anymore. Because the very thing that makes TikTok, what makes it work, is that unique algorithm, giving every video equal opportunity to be seen, and its biggest opportunity to be seen by someone who knows and will love your content. There are very, very niche communities on the platform that have been able to flourish because of this algorithm, sending those videos to the right people. YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, they cannot do that. They both mainly prioritize watch time. So even if you like watch a second of something that you're not interested in, they think that you are, and they just give you that the whole time. And plus, I have not found anything on either platform that they have specifically catered to me. Even when I go out to look for it to make them know that I want to see this, it never sticks. So back when the ban was first being looked into, I went on to Shorts and Reels to see if I could start building my algorithm. I got on TikTok in 2020 like most folks, so I got like 5 years of that app knowing me. But no matter how hard I tried in the last year, Shorts and Reels refuses to get to know me. I keep getting clips from TV shows with music over them, cooking videos, reaction clips, AI generated voice videos with a compilation of, I don't know, repair videos and stuff like that, and dumb prank videos and a bunch of other stuff I don't want to see. I don't want to see whatever nonsense Nick, what's his name, is cooking. I don't care. I don't care, baby. I don't think we can ever recreate TikTok, which is a damn shame. What's even more of a shame and rather scary is that this could lead the way to massive censorship down the line. If you go back to my first video, I read that bill more, well, not read it, but I kind of go more in depth on just how this ban bill will work and where the power will end up being consolidated in the government. Cause like just banning any app that has something the government doesn't like on it under the guise of national security is truly nefarious. And well, this means that any China or hell, just any non-US based app is up for grabs, all because we have an oligarchy amongst our tech companies around here. God damn it. Facebook has sold my data more than once. I got the check stubs for the $5 from the class action lawsuits to prove it. So if some rando in China wants to see how I built up my affection with Zane from Love and Deep Space, then so be it. I do not care. Once again, nobody knows, but I will say it's not looking good. I hope to be wrong. I never wanted to be more wrong in my life, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I do know one thing. I'm damn salty about it.
Shed the light on everything. The light is always light is everything. Feel the dream. La 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 la. Feel the